Hi, this is Shauna, and I want to welcome you to Living in This Space. Real talk, because hey, we're all just living in this space we call life, right? It's messy, it's hard, and sometimes it's the most joyous thing we can experience. I want you, my listener, to have a place where the conversation is real and honest. I hope we can spend this time together, validating, sharing, and experiencing all the feels together with whatever topic is on the agenda for the day. Let's dive in. Hi, and welcome back. Wow, for those of you who've been listening to this series on the Wheel of Life, this first little bit today may be a bit of a recap for you. So if you want to fast forward, feel free to do that. But hang in there because today we're moving on to the next spoke of the wheel. If you're just tuning in, I am doing a series of episodes talking about the tool I use in my coaching business. This tool is called a Wheel of Life. Now, some of you may have done a wheel exercise and you're already familiar with what we're talking about. But for those of you who are not, stop for a moment and picture in your mind a wheel on a bicycle. That wheel will have spokes that support the actual rim that the tire is on. Well, the Wheel of Life looks similar. It has a center and then spokes that extend to an outer ring. And each section of those spokes represents an area in our lives that we're either thriving in or we may need to focus a bit of attention on. During this 12-episode series, we are going to briefly talk each week about an area of this Wheel of Life that I use. Now, here are the spokes on my Wheel of Life: healthy boundaries, self-belief, positive emotions, your belief system, relationships and connections, accomplishments and achievements, dreams and goals, engagement, growth mindset, self-care, time management, and resilience. The extent to which we thrive and flourish in life, I believe, is to a large degree based on the choices we're making every day and how we're doing in each of these areas that I just mentioned. As we go through each area, I want you to stop for a minute and think about where you may be along the scale of 0 to 10 in that area. Now, I want you to understand, while it's probably not possible to be thriving at all times in each of these areas, we certainly have daily opportunities to steadily and intentionally move the needle a little bit farther toward a 10, thus gaining a much greater sense of well-being, satisfaction, and enjoyment in our lives. If you've missed the previous episodes in this series, I want to encourage you to go back and listen from the beginning, starting with episode 31. Today, we're going to focus on the next spoke of the wheel, and that's engagement. Now, I feel like engagement pairs nicely with the previous episode on healthy relationships and connections. They go hand in hand because when we live an engaged life, we are growing those relationships and connections in our lives. So I think one of the important pillars of living a full life is engagement. If you're listening and you're not living a very engaging life, you probably recognize that by now. I'm going to be super transparent with you. This is an area that I sometimes struggle with. I think I personally fall somewhere between being an extrovert and an introvert. And I seem to randomly go through spells of being on one side or the other. And I feel like there's probably a lot of you listening that are like that. I love being around people until I don't. Can you relate to that? When I choose not to engage with others, I'm happy as a clam just to be by myself or to be at home with my husband. And something that we have both learned over the last few years is the value of alone time, even if we're both in the same house. You know, I think we have to be very mindful that there is going to be a balance in living a life of engagement. There is a balance of doing and then a balance of simply being. Remember, Even an engaged life still needs some social boundaries for quiet time or those times when we feel like we need to decline an invitation or we want to do something different other than being social. So take a moment to think about what engagement looks like to you and how does it help you to live a more fulfilled life. For me, it's being intentional to keep in contact with close friends. It's making time every Friday and Saturday night to have date night with my husband. It's scheduling time to work on this podcast every week, or to do things that I have on my to-do list or goals that I want to accomplish. It's being intentional to make eye contact with people when I'm out and about, or maybe just strike up a conversation with them or say hi. It's these things and so much more. Engaged living looks like moving forward, pursuing your goals, committing to action, and taking opportunities as they arise. And for each one of you, it's going to look different. Put simply, when we take action and we're moving forward toward the people and things that matter most to us, we are now living an engaged life. As we actively move in the direction of engagement, we will increase the likelihood of enjoying positive emotions more. We will be participating in activities that we may not have tried. And more importantly, we will be living a life of meaning. Do you remember earlier when I mentioned having healthy boundaries when living your engaged life? Well, I want you to keep in mind that everyone, whether an introvert or an extrovert, needs a healthy combination of social time and solo time. You also need to be able to decline an invitation or just say, you know what, I'm going to stay home this weekend. I'm not interested. Thank you for offering. I want to challenge you to step out of your comfort zone and take that baby step toward either trying something new or having a conversation. And for those of you listening who may already be living a very engaged life, I want to tell you, I think you are amazing. I'm always a little bit envious when I see people who seem to really have this one working well in their lives. So, this is a spoke in the wheel that I personally am continually in pursuit of moving that dial toward a 10. Sweet listeners, as we wrap up, I want to do a quick recap. We are more likely to feel gratitude, hope, self-esteem, and happiness when we are actually engaged in our own lives. Deciding to practice engaged living is a choice. And as we actively practice engaged living, we are increasing the likelihood of enjoying positive emotions and, more importantly, a life of meaning. You know, I love this quote and I feel like it's perfect as we close. I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. Leonardo da Vinci. Sweet listeners, I hope you're living your very best and most engaging life. Hey, thanks for listening. Don't forget to hit follow wherever you get your podcast. And until next time, I hope you live in your space well, my friends.